Hello everybody and welcome back to our second learning journey lesson this week. Today's date is Tuesday the 12th of May 2020 and our learning journey question is, how does a plant's environment affect its growth? Now yesterday we were looking at the effects temperature has on water transportation in plants, so we can give that one a tick. We're gathering all of this knowledge and we're going to continue that this week so that we can write a good plant growing guide next week. So all of this knowledge is going to help us to do that and answer our question. So today we're focusing on naming the different parts of a flower, and we're going to be doing that by recording information using labelled diagrams. Let's get going. So, as we know, the flower's job is not just to look pretty. It's also to create seeds so that new plants can be grown. Flowers are made up of lots of parts that work together to make seeds. So some of these words you might recognise already, like pollen, so that all the yellow bits you can see inside a plant sometimes gets up your nose, gives you a bit of hay fever. We've got petals, and we've got stems, but there's going to be lots and lots of new vocabulary here, so let's just have a quick look. We've got the sepals, we've got ovules, which are actually inside the ovary, and that makes up part of the plant which is called the carpel, and inside that we've got the ovary, style and stigma, and then over here we've got stamen, and the stamen is the anther and the filament. So I've got a challenge for you to get started on first of all today. It is an optional challenge, you don't have to do it, but when I've done this in the past it's been really fascinating. So your challenge is going to be to dissect a flower. Now I understand at the moment it can be difficult to go outside and find flowers, but if you've got a garden you need to just ask permission from your adult at home if you can perhaps pick a flower from the garden, or maybe just outside your front door, or perhaps even on your daily walk you might see a flower that you can pick. And take it home and very carefully I want you to dissect that flower. So pull it apart very, very carefully because it's going to be fragile, and on a piece of paper you can try and take that flower apart and stick it down with some sellotape and try to label any of those parts of a flower that we just mentioned. So here you can see someone's done a great job. They've pulled apart the petals, keeping them whole. They've got a leaf. They've also found part of the stamen. So they've actually found the anther, which is this top bit here, and the filament. They've found sepals. They've got a bit of the stem there. Okay, and they've also found the stigma, the style, and the ovary. Okay, so have a go, see which parts of the flower you can find. You might not be able to find all of them, but it'd be great to see some different flowers and what you found. So remember, you don't have to do it, but it'd be great if you accept my challenge and give that a little go. Okay, if you're going to do that now, you can pause the video and come back later for your next task, or you can just put this on hold and do this later after you've done the next task. Completely up to you. Okay, so we're going to watch a video and then I want you to see if you can match the parts of the flower to the job that they do. Okay, here we go.
It's great to see you. I've been looking after all my flowers. They've all got light and air and water and nutrients and space and love and room service and pocket money, and the roots and the stems and the leaves and the flowers are all present and correct, and nobody has tried to hack them apart.
Aunt Ivy, your nose is orange.
What? Well, how's that happen?
Have you been sniffing the flowers?
Well, obviously. They smell beautiful.
Well, you've rubbed all the pollen off from the stamen and onto your nose.
The petals don't rub off on me when I touch them.
Well, the petals the outside of the flower, and they make the plant look attractive to bees and insects. To them, it looks like a perfect runway for them to land on.
But the petals are purple. Why is my nose orange?
That's just the pollen on the stamen. There are lots of tiny bits inside the flower. They all have different jobs.
One of their jobs to make my nose orange.
Not usually, but the pollen does need to rub off easily so that insects can take it to other plants. The stamen is made of the anther and the filament. The pollen is on the anther and the filament supports it.
Why do insects want to look orange? You look silly.
Insects want to drink the nectar at the bottom of the flower, and they have to squeeze past the stamen and the pollen to get there. The nectar is produced and held in the nectarines.
The nectarines?
No, but that is a good way to remember it. The nectar is sweet and juicy.
So what other parts are there inside the flower?
Well, I've already told you about the petals, the stamen, and the nectaries, but there's also the carpel, the sepals, and the receptacle. The carpel is made of the style, the stigma, and the ovary produces eggs and protects the baby plant. Aunt Ivy, are you even listening?
Of course. I heard every word.
Well, if you heard every word, why don't you tell me?
So this is what I learned in less than an hour. The carpel's one important part of the flower. There's stigma, style, and ovary. The insect gets the nectar from that nectarine. And what supports the flower while it's feeble? They look like leaves, but we call them sepals. And what makes the flower so bright and special? All the pretty colours on all the pretty petals. Another little part is called the stamen. On the top is the anther, on the bottom is amen. At the base, the ovary makes the whole spectacle, a fruit which then moves down to the receptacle. Hey Patsy, you got any questions? Guess not. Moving on, I'm done with this lesson.
When did you learn how to rap?
I spent a lot of time just me and the plants. Somebody has to provide the entertainment.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that video and hopefully it's given you a little bit more knowledge to help you with this activity. So you're going to need to match up the parts of the flowers with the jobs they do. Here's the parts of the flowers and here's the jobs they do. So on a piece of paper, you just need a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper. Write today's date at the top so I know when you're doing this work, and then write out the parts of the flower. You can either write these out and then draw lines to match them up, or you can just draw an arrow to the correct job that they do. Give that a go now, pause the video and play so that you can check your answers. Okay, here are the answers. Give yourself a little tick if you got it right. So we've got petals which are brightly coloured to attract insects. Give yourself a tick. We've got stamens, which if we come all the way down here, has two parts, the anther and the filament. Stigma catches grains of pollen. The style is the neck that holds up the stigma. The ovary contains the ovules. The anther contains the pollen, and the filament holds up the anther. So give yourself a tick or just correct yourself if you didn't get it quite right. Well done everyone. Tomorrow we'll be looking at this in a bit more detail and finding out about the process of pollination and why it's so important for plants. Well done everybody.